arrival of the Chinese. The Chinese arrived in the Caribbean through indentureship, which took place after the full emancipation of enslaved Africans in the British West Indies in 1838. Indentureship was a means to meet the white planters' demand for cheap labor, now that slavery had been abolished. The Chinese started to arrive on the island in 1854. On July 30th of that year, 224 Chinese out of 267 travelers arrived in Jamaica by way of the ship called Epsom from Hong Kong, with 57 of the 224 Chinese hospitalized. On November 1st of the same year, a second group of 197 Chinese arrived in Kingston by way of a ship called Vampire, part of the 1,042 Chinese contracted for work on the Panama Railroad. A decade later, a third group of 200 arrived on the island from British Guinea, Trinidad, and Panama. In 1884, the last group of 694 Chinese laborers from Hong Kong by way of San Francisco and Panama arrived on the ship called Prince Alexander. However, when the Chinese realized that their labor contracts were being violated, they protested, leading to the state deploying law enforcement, resulting in the death of a worker. Soon after, many Chinese left the plantations for commercial endeavors. With the expansion of the banana export business, persons in the industry, especially small rural farmers, had more purchasing power. Thus, many Chinese went into the grocery retail business. Now, if you were paying attention, you would have noticed that based on the facts we already explored, it is already clear that the article is not historically correct, for the Musgraves came almost 3 years before the construction of Devon House. So, upon arrival to the island, Lady Musgrave could not have seen Devon House a few months after her arrival to the island. Secondly, the road in question that the author mentioned that Governor Musgrave ordered to be constructed to avoid Devon House, it was already constructed. It already existed. So, if Miss Musgrave wanted to avoid Devon House, she could have easily just taken that road that was already there. Why would anyone order the construction of something that already exists? Thirdly, Tarpendo stated no direct source. His references came from sources said, sources close to family, and it was said. So, with that said, we will provide the necessary evidence to show that despite this widely popular tale, repeated by citizens, academics, journalists, the NLJ, and other government institutions, the story of Lady Musgrave and Devon House is not true. The first mention of Lady Musgrave Road that I could really find was in a building site announcement published in the Daily Gleaner, November 18, 1805. It states, quote, "Frontage on the Lady Musgrave Road in St. Andrew, as per diagram annexed to the certificate of title under the Registration of Titles Law. Please apply to M. Delgado, 5 Port Royal Street, Kingston." End quote. Alright, so let's continue to debunk this myth, because we are debunk every part of the myth.